Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. So this is that 2008 paper. It is a pretty lengthy paper. There were around 38 questions. So without wasting time, we can start immediately. Time will remain the same. Let's say we'll have 5 minutes extra. So at 10:05, we will start the discussion. You can start now. Okay. Time is up. Time is up. I'll start the poll now. Okay. Please start marking your answers immediately. Okay. Now that we have done, uh, let us start our discussion. Question number 1 to 3, Tara Jumbles. Answer for question number 1 should be 1. It should be 1 because if you actually see number 3, it's saying it is clear that ethics cannot be put into words. So it is clear from what? So I think there's first going to be a discussion which will make it clear that ethics cannot be put into words. So in all probability, statement number 3 is going to be the conclusion. Number 4 makes the most general statement and says all propositions are of equal value. Then you move to statement number 2. The sense of the world must lie outside the world. And what is it trying to say? That in the world everything is as it is and everything happens as it does happen. In it no value exists. कोई value नहीं है उसमें. And he continues this discussion in number 1 where he says, so too, just like there is no value, similarly, it is impossible for there to be any propositions of ethics. Now he's talking about specific kinds of propositions related to ethics. In number 4, he was talking about propositions per se. Here is talking about propositions of ethics. And that is why he forms the conclusion that ethics cannot be put into words. No proposition is possible. So best answer for question number 1 should be number 1. Number 2, question number 2, answer should be 3. Answer should be 3. Okay, why it is 3? Because I can very well see that 4 and 3 are a mandatory pair. 4 and 3 are a mandatory pair. If you see, it is not how things are in the world that is mystical. It is this that is mystical. So it is not A that is mystical, it is Y that is mystical. So 4 and 3 will have to come together. Okay? So most generalized statement is number 2, where he says how things are in the world. It is a matter of complete indifference for something that is higher, that is God. God is indifferent. God does not reveal himself in the world. The fact all contribute only to setting the problem, not to its solution. So what we actually see is that problems are set. So, and why? And what is the problem? It is not how things are in the world that is mystical, but that it exists. The problem is that the world exists. Why it exists, we don't know. There's no solution. God has provided us no solution. God has just set the problem. So it is not how things are, but that it exists. To view the world subspecies eternally. Subspecies eternally मतलब होता है as eternal. To view the world as eternal is to view it as a whole, a limited whole. Feeling the world as a limited whole. It is this that is mystical. So there's a very strong link between 4 and 3, and I think option number 3 is the only one where you see the 4 and 3 together. So answer for question number 2 should be 3. Okay. Number three, can 3 4 be mandatory pair? No, no. It has to be the other way around. It has to be the other way around. Generally, see, it is not A but B. ऐसे बोलते हो ना? First you say what is not there, and then you explain it is this that is there. So no, 3 4 cannot be the mandatory pair. It has to be the other way around. Question number three. Question number three. Answer should be five. Answer should be number five. If you actually see in number four, he's talking about an operation, which is general. In number one, he's talking about the operation, which is specific, which means that one cannot come before four. Okay, one cannot come before four. In fact, in number four, he starts by telling you what is an operation. An operation is expression of relation between the structures of its result and its basis. The operation. Then he goes to a specific kind of operation and he says the operation is what has to be done to one proposition in order to make other out of it. Now he's talking about the operation of a proposition. Okay? And how it works, then he actually tells you. In fact, 2 and 3 also will be mandatory pair if you see. Structure of proposition stands in internal relations to one another, and in order to give prominence to these internal relations. What internal relations? Those that were mentioned in number 2. So 2 and 3 again mandatory pair, and between 4 and 1, if I have to choose, then 4 should come first, and that is why number 5 is the best answer. Okay, question number 3. This is question number 3. Now we have a passage, pretty lengthy passage, which has some questions from 4 to 9. Uh, he's in this passage. He's discussing something called mood. What is mood? He tells you. And he tells you that mood and emotions distinction है उन दोनों के बीच में. Moods are distinguished from emotions proper. And what is the distinction? Moods are not tied to any specific object. किसी एक ऑब्जेक्ट से टाइड नहीं है मूड. Emotions generally tied होता है. However, this distinction is not watertight. That means there may be some situations where your mood changes because of any specific object. But generally, moods are not tied to specific objects. Emotions are tied to specific objects. Okay? And emotions, they keep changing. Emotions keep changing. He tells you that moods and emotions keep changing. Moods manifest themselves in positive or negative feelings that are tied to your health, your personality, your perceived quality of life, and so many other things. Now he comes to the point and he's trying to say that what is important for marketing is that moods, color, outlook, and bias judgments. For example, Abhi, in the present situation, what is the mood of a typical Indian? After demonetization, the mood is not to waste money. The mood is to spend as little as possible. So if you probably launch a very premium product, it is not going to work right now because the national mood is down. The national mood is not very good right now. Okay, so this is important for marketing. Why it's important? Because mood will color outlook and bias judgments. Yes, use Paytm, okay, but still many people have lost a lot of money. They could not convert it into and deposit in bank and make it white. So mood to down है ही काफी सारे लोगों का. So that is why he's saying that is why it's important that you have consumer confidence surveys. Because consumer confidence typically reflects the national mood. So this passage is definitely from a marketing perspective, and he's telling you there is mood congruence when thoughts and actions fall in line with mood. So your mood is also good, your thoughts and actions are also good. In that situation, generally people will buy, they will purchase, they will tolerate lots of inconvenience. Yeah, Hannah? So even if your product is even if they have to stand in line for your product, they will tolerate it. But if they're in a bad mood, then it will have an impact on thought and action as well. So even if it is not a very premium product, even if it is something very simple, and they're not getting it quickly, they will probably start feeling bad. So he tells you when consumers are in a good mood, they are optimistic and they will tolerate things like waiting in line. But if you are in a mood, oh here he's trying to say you are in a bad mood, then generally people will try to alter your behavior. They will try to put you in the right mood by using music and friendly stuff. Or they will open bakeries in shopping malls so that the passerbys, the customers, they are delighted. So that the mood is always right. That you spend करें. So that they're optimistic. Okay. From here, then he goes and says that he talks about a particular person here. According to Thayer, moods are a mixture of biological and psychological influences. And they, like a thermometer, they reflect all the internal and external events that influence us. Now he's telling you that there is actually a relationship. When your mood actually can be categorized into four parts. I mean, there are four categories. You can be in four different kinds of moods, and you will have four different kinds of permutation combination between energy and tension. So when you are in a calm energy mood, then what happens? This is the optimal mood. Energy भी कम ज्यादा होती है, tension भी कम है. When you are in a calm tiredness mood, then you will be tired. Mood थोड़ा बहुत खराब होगा and tension थोड़ा सा होगा, but not so much that that it will make you very angry. Sometimes it can be pleasant also. But then you can have tense energy and tense tiredness as well. When you are in such moods, then what happens? When you are in tense energy, you will have low level of anxiety that is suited to a fight or flight disposition. And when there is tense tiredness, there's going to be a mixture of fatigue and anxiety. And this brings unpleasant feelings of depression. And he further on goes on to say that as a marketeer, you should pay attention to these two moods, ये दोनों, because these two are extremes. ये दोनों extremes हैं, and and people selling products, they need to focus on these two states. He tells you. Um, he also tells you how people's mood change. What is the national mood? People feel elated when the national soccer team wins, है ना? And an elated mood of calm energy is an optimistic mood, which is good for business. However, moods keep changing, and these changes are what marketers need to keep in mind. So over time, the mood states changes, and the problem that lies is in anticipating changes in national mood, since a change in mood affects everything from buying of equities to buying of houses and washing machines. ठीक है ना? And he is telling you that ये जो two extreme mood states हैं, tense tiredness state or calm energy state, these are polar extremes and they are more likely to influence behavior. So you'll have to pay more attention to these mood types. So he tells you how the mood changed. देखो कैसे change हुआ. When Charles Dickens depicted the death of Little O'Neill, it was an emotional journey. But Few years down the line, when Oscar Wilde did the same, there was a flippancy about it. He was joking. Okay, so the mood changed. Somebody's death was very emotional during Charles Dickens' time, but by the time you come to Oscar Wilde, people have become very flippant. So he also tells you that whenever your mind is not fully absorbed, then consciousness is not focused and ordered, and then you have unpleasant and negative mood. Unpleasant and negative mood develops, and that is why it's important that you focus yourself, absorb yourself. So it does not matter what you're shopping for. The point is to shop for anything because that will keep you busy. If you're not busy, if you're not absorbed in something, then your mood becomes negative. So this is what he's trying to say in this particular passage. Pretty lengthy passage, and based on this, question number four: which of the following will best summarize the above passage? I think the answer for this question, best answer is number two. This passage highlights the importance of moods and emotions in marketing. Yes, it is from the marketing perspective. So, yes, number two should be the answer for number four. Question number five. Which of the following is closest to conspicuous consumption in the passage? Even without looking at the passage, you know what is conspicuous consumption? No, conspicuous का मतलब क्या होता है? Conspicuous means where you want to make it very obvious, visible. You want everybody to see that you're purchasing Rolls Royce, you're purchasing a bungalow, you're purchasing big brands. So conspicuous consumption means that there's consumption of material items for impressing others. It should be number four. Conspicuous consumption does not mean consumption driven by moods and emotions. Why? Because if you are in a bad mood, let's say you are in a down mood, तो डाउन मोड में जो कंजम्पशन करोगे आप दैट इज नॉट वुड बी कंस्पिक्यूअस वो तो शो ऑफ थोड़ी ना हुआ उसमें सो नो नंबर टू इज नॉट राइट it is consumption of material items for impressing others. Number one, audible consumption, that is illogical. Audible means everybody can hear you. वो illogical statement है number one, Pratul. So number five, question number five, answer should be four. Number six, what is mood congruence? I think ये तो बिल्कुल stated है passage में. Mood congruence is when mood are synchronous with thoughts and actions. Yes, perfect. This is a straightforward question from the passage. So six, it is number two. Number seven. He gives you two definitions. One is implication. Implication is a statement which follows from the given text. Matlab implication is conclusion. When you say something is an implication, you can conclude. Proposition is a statement which forms a part of a given text. That means it is an evidence. It is an evidence, it is not a conclusion. It is a part of that particular text. It will be used as an evidence or as a premise. It is an evidence or a premise. Now he says there are two statements below. Decide whether they are implications or propositions. The marketeers should understand and make use of moods and emotions in designing and selling products and services. I think this is what you can conclude after reading this passage. So, number one is implication. ये तो implication है. Number two, consuming is nothing but way of filling the void in consciousness. I think this is an evidence that he will give you in the passage because he's telling you what is consumption in the very last passage or very last paragraph. So this is proposition. First one is implication, second is proposition, which means our answer is number two. Okay, good. Yes, people who marked, you have marked number two. Very good. Number eight. Anybody has issues or doubts, objections, please stop me. Okay. Which statements from the above, from the ones given below, are correct? In general, emotions are object specific. Yes. In general, moods are not object specific. Yes. Moods and emotions are same. No. As per here, moods are a mix of biological and psychological influences. Yes. So 1, 2, and 4, which means our answer is going to be number 4. Again, straightforward question from the passage. Question number 8. Number 9. The statement moods provide energy for human actions is what? I think it should be sometimes right. It should be sometimes right because yes, when you are in a good up mood में होंगे, तो yes, it will provide energy. But when you are in a down mood, it will not provide energy. So it is sometimes right. You cannot say it's always right. Very good. Very, very good. Yes, answer should be number 3. Great. Now coming to question number 92 and 93. No, sorry. In the paper is 92 and 93. Here it's question number 10 and 11. So he's telling you that CEOs of large organizations are paid more than CEOs of small organizations. This is not fair. CEO's salary should be based related to performance, and this is what he want to say. All CEOs should be paid according to the performance. If you want to refute his argument, what will you say? Yes, you'll say number 2. You'll say that managing big organization is more challenging than small, and that is why CEOs of big organizations should be paid more. No, number 4 is not right. Priyanka and Gaurang. Number 4, if CEOs of small companies perform well, the company will become big, and so would be CEO salary. तो सैलरी को बिग होने के लिए कंपनी पहले बिग होना पड़ेगा ना. So you are not refuting the argument. 2 is stated where? Where it's stated that managing big organization is more challenging. Even if it's stated, you can use it to refute the argument, isn't it? Sometimes people say something which is not logical, which in fact disproves what they're saying. So you can use it as a weapon against them. So number 2 is right. Number 4 is not right because number 4 में तो आप कह रहे हो that when the organization becomes big, then CEO salary will also become big. But he's saying नहीं, all CEOs should be paid according to the performance. Everybody should get the same salary, whether it's a big company or a small company. So number 4 is not refuting the argument. Okay, number 2 होना चाहिए. Pratul, isn't 4 implying that if small company CEO were performing well, the company will grow, hence they will get big salary. If CEOs of small companies perform well, the company would become big and so would be CEO salary. So what about CEOs of big organizations? If they are not performing well, their salary will still be big, isn't it? Why are you only focusing on the CEOs of small organizations performing well? Even if the CEOs of big organizations are not performing well, they will still be getting the big salary. So you see, number 4, it does not refute the argument. Okay, I think we have solved this question in classes. ये वाला we have solved this question in our class exercises. Okay, number 11. This is tricky. Which of the following is true would strengthen the speaker's argument that he wants everybody's salary to be same? There should be no differentiation. And especially if it's a person from a small organization, he should get same salary. So even though nothing is very, very strong, but the strongest among them is going to be number 1. Number 1 is one more reason why CEOs of small organizations should get salaries at par with big organizations because apart from the fact that they can perform as well, they also come from good educational backgrounds. So yes, number 1, that is what I said. Number 1 is the most appropriate in this situation, even though some doubts can be raised on number 1 as well. But from these options, it is the best. Number three is only talking about business, family businesses. Aman, it's restricted to family businesses. It's not restricted to big or small businesses. Why focus only on family businesses? So whether it's family business or it's a public owned business, salaries should be the same according to the author. Okay, according to the argument. So we'll not just focus on family businesses. So number three is not right. Question number 12 and 13. Hindi should be the official language of India. Government should not waste money printing documents in different languages. The government has better ways to spend taxpayers' money. People across India should read or write Hindi or learn it at the earliest. This is what he wants you to do. That everybody should read or write Hindi and learn it at the earliest. If you want to weaken his argument, what will you say? Yes. No, not five. It should be two. Hindi is the most difficult language in the world to speak. So you are saying that everybody should learn Hindi, but it's so difficult. How can you learn it? It is the most difficult language. It's not as easy as you're saying that we learn kar. Number five, Gatin, number five will not weaken the argument. See, he's saying people who are multilingual usually pay maximum taxes. So let us say there is a person called A. This person is multilingual. He knows Tamil, he knows Bengali. तो मल्टीलिंगुअल तो वही है ही नोज और क्या लैंग्वेज है मराठा मराठी तो वेल हिंदी even though there's no Hindi this guy is multilingual so being multilingual does not mean that you have to learn Hindi okay so number 5 is not right uh, Mohit Hindi might be very easy to read or write he's telling you yes but he's saying dono kar lo or either you read or write Hindi or you learn it at the earliest so learning it या तो लिखो हिंदी में या फिर लर्न करो अगर नहीं आती तो लर्न करो ओके Mohit and Tarun I just answered your question okay he never says that it is easy you cannot say people across India should read or write Hindi यानी या तो हिंदी पढ़ो लिखो या सीखो मतलब ये कौन who will learn people who don't know Hindi okay so no it is not going to work what you are saying will not make sense Priyanka, yes, you have a very valid point. To weaken the argument, we should say non-Hindi speakers pay more tax. Yes, but no option is there. No such option is there. Okay, so what you're saying is right, but no such option is there. From amongst the choices, number two is the best one because you are saying that everybody should use Hindi, or if you don't know how to use Hindi, learn it. But my question is, how do I learn it? It's the most difficult language. Multilingual, but you said multilingual can be non-Hindi speakers as well. हाँ तो इसमें but multilingual में हिंदी भी तो हो सकते हैं ना. So there's a 50% possibility. See, Priyanka, number 5 you cannot say with certainty कि multilingual में हिंदी भी है या नहीं है. नहीं भी हो सकता है, हो भी सकता है, दोनों हो सकता है ना. So this is not a very strong point. Both possibilities are there. So 50% times it will work, 50% times it will not work. That is the idea. But speaking is one aspect of learning a language. Yeah, maybe, Darun, yes, but But when you learn a language, then reading, writing, speaking, I mean, see, he has deliberately used the word speak here, or यहाँ पे read or write to throw you off guard. He's asking you to use Hindi. या तो हिंदी यूज करो और नहीं आता तो लर्न करो उसे. If I say it is one of the most difficult languages, it's the most difficult language in the world to speak. मतलब क्या हुआ? That it's not going to be easy. Okay, Tarun? Because if you will not mark number two, then no other answer is possible. No other answer is possible. Two is the best answer. Even though two, there could have been better choices, there could have been better options, but from the given options, I think number two is the best one. Number four, making Hindi the official language is a politically unpopular idea. But problem is that he's not concerned about politics. He's concerned about saving money by printing in only one language. So even if it's a politically unpopular idea, does not make a difference. Okay, Abhishek. So number four will not work. Manasvi, can the argument be Hindi be the official language? See, I told you, whenever you're in doubt, I don't know, I've told you, consider one of them to be A and the other one to be B. This is A. Hindi ought to be the official language of India. Therefore, everybody should learn it at the earliest. ये होना चाहिए. Everybody should learn Hindi at the earliest. Therefore, Hindi should be the official language of India. You tell me which one is right. You will understand कि आपका argument क्या है. Do you remember I told you in one of the XAT sessions? A therefore B X. Sorry, we use X therefore Y or Y therefore X. Remember? Whenever you are stuck between two statements which look like conclusions, so how do you find which one is the conclusion? Consider one of them to be X and the other one to be Y, and then read it like this: X therefore Y. If that makes sense, Y is the conclusion. Or read it the other way: Y therefore X. If this makes sense, then X is the conclusion. And over here, it makes sense that um, Hindi ought to be the official language of India, and that is why, therefore, you should read you should learn it because it's the official language. That is why you have to learn it. So, argument cannot be that Hindi should be the official language. Number 13. Should I move to next one? Question number 13. United Nations members contribute funds proportionate to their populations for facilitating smooth functioning of the UN. So by 2010, India, being the most populous nation on the planet, would contribute the maximum amount to the UN. Therefore, the official language of the UN should be changed to Hindi. Which of the following is true? Now, here also he wants Hindi to be the official language. So, in official documents, official language, in India also he wants it, and internationally also he wants it. So, this is an extension of what he's trying to say. Should be number two. Number three, it's not similar. It is not similar because one is on the national scale and another one is in the international forum. They are not similar because um, why he's asking Hindi to be the official language in India is because he wants to save money, and here the intention is something else. Because we contribute the most, and that is why our language should be the official language. So it's not similar. Even though it looks similar, it's not similar. So three is not right. Question number 14 and 15. He's talking about Bistupur Sakshi corner, and he says that a speed breaker is required. School children cross this intersection, and many a times they do not check out for traffic. I read reports of cars and other vehicles hitting children. I know speed breakers are irritating, but children have to be protected from um, from many dangers, and there needs to be a speed breaker so that vehicles slow down and children can be made safer. So, which of the following arguments is used in the above passage? I think he's being emotional. This is emotive. He's referring to the safety of children to get people interested. Yes, number two should be the answer. There's no personalization. There is no statistical analysis. There is no analogy. He's not calling the intersection dangerous. There is no attack on anybody. He's just talking about safety of children, and then he wants you to become involved in his article. So it should be number two. Number 15. According to a recent research conducted by the District Road Planning Department, 10% students come with parents in cars, 20% use auto rickshaws, 20% use taxis, 40% use school buses, and 10% students live in hostel inside the school. So if everybody is using a vehicle, who's crossing the intersection? Huh? So what is true? Which of the following is true about the above paragraph? That this information which he has provided, it contradicts the speaker's argument. Yes, correct. Exactly. So it should be number five. Question 1 to 15. Anybody has any issue till now? Please ask. 16 and 17. He's saying that when you look at history, प्रियंका 14 में क्या थर्ड भी हो सकता है statistical analysis. He is noting the number of children. कहाँ है number of children? कहाँ है number of children? Tell me. How many children were hit by vehicles? Where does he say? I get reports that vehicles hit children, but he's not noting the number of children. Does he give you a figure? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60? No, he does not. So 3 is wrong. Okay. Okay. Now he's saying in 16 and 17 that history, if you look at history not just as a repository that we store of anecdotes or chronology, that means history को और किसी एंगल से भी देखोगे अगर आप, then it will produce a decisive transformation in the image of science. So don't just look at it from the angle of store of anecdotes or chronology. Look at it from different angles, and there's going to be transformation in the image of science. The present image of science has been drawn by scientists themselves. From where? From the study of finished scientific achievements, as these are recorded in the classics and in the textbooks, from which each new scientific generation learns to practice its trade. So he's trying to say that when you look at history from different angles, then you will get a lot of different kinds of information. There's going to be a transformation. So what is the which will best summarize the above passage? Question number 16. Three. Should be three. Different ways of looking at history can produce altogether different knowledge. Correct. Number 17. Which of the following statements is the author most likely to agree with? I think number 5. Author will agree that the history of science can present multiple interpretations to people regarding the process of scientific development. Because do not look at it only from the angle of chronology or anecdotal angle. There can be a decisive transformation if you look at it from other angles. So it can present multiple interpretations. Should be number 5. Number 1 and number 4 भी देख लेते हैं. Number 1 and number 4 भी देख लेते हैं. History of science presents a scientific way of looking at scientific developments. No, no. History of science presents a scientific way of looking. नहीं, this is incorrect information. ऐसे तो नहीं बोला उसने. Because you look at history only as a source of anecdote and chronology, that is why you have a particular image of science. Because science comes from history. That does not mean that history of science will provide you a scientific way. Look at it in some other way, you will probably get some other interpretation. That is what he's trying to say. So number one is not right. Number four is also not right because history of science should purposely present different images of science. And this is not right. It should purposely present. This is too extreme an opinion. No, you should look at history of science from different angles because it will provide you with different information. Don't look at it only from the angle of chronology and anecdotes. So 17 answer should be 5. Okay, till now, anybody have issues? 18. Goodrick Group is planning to give top priority to core competence of production and marketing of tea. The company intends to increase the production of orthodox varieties of tea. It's planning to invest 10 crores to modernize the factories. The company has announced a net profit of 5.49 crores for 2006 as against 3.76 crore in 2005. What can you deduce? That means, what can you conclude from the above? Heading 3, yeah, you can conclude that core competence can be used for furthering companies' interests. So they want to, they are modernizing. They want to increase the profit, and to increase the profit, they are giving top priority to core competence of production and marketing. So, which means that core competence can be used for furthering companies' interest. Yes, correct. Why not two? देख लेते हैं. Why not one भी देख लेते हैं. Increase in production of existing products enhances core competence. नहीं, ऐसा कब बोला? This cannot be inferred that when you increase production of existing products, it will enhance your core competence. आपकी core competence production and marketing दोनों ही है. Both. So increasing production can probably you can become a good producer, but what about marketing? So number two is not right because core competence में दोनों आता है, production and marketing. Number one, production and marketing is core competence of Goodrich Group. हाँ तो ये तो already stated है ना. This is already stated. They are giving top priority to the core competence of production and marketing of tea. So nothing to deduce here. There's nothing to conclude here. And it's not just production and marketing. It will be production and marketing of tea. It is not just any other product. So the best answer for question number 18 should be number 3. You are giving top priority to core competence and hence you will increase your production and you will also market it properly. Yes, sir, Ravi, what you're saying is right. But that does not mean that when you increase your production, नहीं इन्फर्ड है ना. आप उल्टा 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 उसको जो आप बोल रहे हो उसको उल्टा घुमा दो. आप अपनी स्टेटमेंट को उल्टा घुमा दो. Increasing production will increase your core competence. देख लो. ओहो सर्वज्ञ, नहीं, you're not you. Let me explain this to you in some other way. If I say, if I say you feel weak when you donate blood, okay? So does it necessarily mean that you're feeling weak because you have donated blood? No, no. You will be feeling weak because you have not eaten for the past 3 days. Okay. So their core competence is production and marketing. Their core competence is production and marketing. Okay. ठीक है ना? Enhancing core competence will lead to increase in production. हाँ, that is what I'm trying to say. I mean, नहीं आप जो बोल रहे हो ना सर, it's little bit different. Um, okay, you give top priorities. मैं ऐसे समझाता हूँ. You give top priority to your studies. है ना? Studies. ये आपकी core competence है. You give top priority to your studies. These studies, it is your core competence. ये आपकी core competence है ना? When you do this, जब आप ये करोगे ना, तो क्या होगा? When you do this, when you give top priority to your core competence, that means when you study, तो उसका रिजल्ट क्या आता है? उसका उसका रिजल्ट ये आता है दैट प्रोडक्शन बढ़ जाती है, प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीजेस, मार्केटिंग इंक्रीजेस, एंड यू विल हैव प्रॉफिट्स, प्रॉफिट्स होगा, ये सब कुछ होगा ना? अभी तक सही है सर बगिए? नाउ सी, because you have increased production, does it mean it is enhancing your studies? नहीं ना? No. When you increase production, does it mean that it is increasing your studies? No, it is not. So number two is not right. Okay. Okay. I move to 19. 19, he's talking about something called the concept of blue ocean strategy. He says the author reflects. So he's talking about someone else. The author is talking about the concept of blue ocean strategy. And what is blue ocean strategy? The author remarks this about blue ocean strategy. So what can you say? The above paragraph appears to be what? Yes, it is. It is reviewing either an article or a book on blue ocean strategy, because everywhere you're seeing the author is doing this, the author is doing this. मतलब कोई article या book होगा, you are reviewing it. Yes. ये किसने लिखा? सत्वज्ञ. If you study more and hence give more time, it will mean giving more time will help me study. You are making it circular. That is the error. That वही तो error है ना आप में, आप सर्वज्ञ आपके दिए रीजनिंग में. You are making it circular. ऐसा नहीं है. A करोगे तो B होगा, है ना? Actually, what you have failed to understand is he's trying to say when you do A करोगे तो B होगा. तो B किया आपने तो does it mean कि A होगा? जरूरी नहीं है ना. B can happen because of so many other things like C and D. Why make it circular? That is the flaw in your reasoning. So again, we were discussing 19. 19 is easy. Everywhere he's saying author, 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 which means that he is reviewing an article or a book on blue ocean strategy. Now coming to question number 20 to 22. From question number 20 to 22 from this particular passage, he's talking about Deborah Mayo. And he's saying that Deborah Mayo focused on the detailed way in which claims are validated by experiments. You have a claim, वो claim true है या false है, through experiment you validate it. But problem is that what she believes that a claim can only be said to be supported by experiment if the various ways in which the claim could be at fault have been investigated and eliminated. If this is not true, then then you cannot say that the claim is valid. So जितने भी faults हो सकते थे claim के, जितने भी loopholes हैं, you will have to investigate those loopholes and you will have to eliminate it. Only then you can say that a claim has been validated. Otherwise, no. So a claim can only be said to be borne out by experiments, and a severe test of a claim, as usually construed by Mayo, must be such that the claim would be unlikely to pass if it were false. So your experiment has to be so severe, itna severely test karna hai for false that if the claim actually were not true, it will not pass under any circumstances. It will not be validated. To explain what he wants to say, there is a simple example. He gives an example of Snell's law of refraction of light. The problem is that if you want to test Snell's law of refraction of light, you can use some very rough experiments. कुछ रफ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स कर लो जिनमें बहुत लार्ज मार्जिन ऑफ एरर है ना. With these rough experiments, where there's large margin of error, you can very easily prove Snell's law of refraction. Validate हो जाएगा वो. But problem ये है that if I bring other laws also on refraction and I test them on these very same rough experiments, they will also pass. है ना? So he tells you an exercise I carried out in my school teaching days serves to drive home this point. My students had conducted some very careful experiments to test Snell's law. I presented them with some alternative laws of refraction, and the students, they tested them and they used the measurements that they had used to test Snell's law. Because of the wide margins of error, all of these alternative laws pass the test. So you cannot say that Snell's law of refraction is actually validated, because उसको invalid करने वाली जितनी भी चीजें हैं, first we'll have to eliminate that. Okay, so this clearly brings out the point that the experiments in question did not constitute a severe test of Snell's law. So there has to be a severe test. This is what he's trying to say. So error बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. Error बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. In your experiments, in your testing of a claim, you have to be very strict. You will have to eliminate all loopholes and weaknesses. Only then you can say that a claim is validated. That is what he's trying to say in this particular passage. Based on this passage, question number 20, what conclusion can be drawn from this passage? I think number one, that is what he's trying to prove, that experimental data जो है आपके पास, it can support multiple explanations at the same time, and that is why you have to keep testing the validity of your theories, or severely, and very severely, you have to keep testing the validity of your theory. Only then you will come to know whether your claim is valid or not. So should be number one for question number 20. 21. As per Mayo's perspective, which of the following best defines the phrase scientific explanation? A scientific explanation is one which refutes other explanations convincingly. It should be foolproof. It should be completely valid. All faults will have to be eliminated. Yes, should be number four. 21. I think many of you have not taken up this particular passage. Number two, बोल रहे Rahul, one which has been thoroughly tested by scientific experts. नहीं कोई भी हो सकता है ना. Why just scientific experts? साइंटिफिक एक्सपर्ट्स ही टेस्ट करेंगे तो कोई क्लेम वैलिड हो जाएगा क्या? अगर वो एक फिलोसफिकल क्लेम है तो कोई भी क्लेम हो सकता है ना. स्टूडेंट्स भी हो सकते हैं. यस, इफ इट इज अ फिलोसफिकल क्लेम तो फिलोसफर्स करेंगे ना. इफ इट इज a literary claim तो linguists करेंगे. So why the scientific experts? No, number two is not right. 22. The author's use of Snell's law of refraction to illustrate Mayow's perspective can best be said to be. It is exemplary. It is illustrative. It shows you what is the meaning of what Mayo is trying to say. Yes, it should be number five. It is not contrived. Contrived का मतलब artificial होता है. Artificial, pre-planned, not real, not genuine. It is pre-planned, artificial, not genuine, contrived. Premeditated भी यही होता है. Superfluous मतलब useless, unnecessary. That is not true. Whatever author is using is giving you an example to prove what Mayo is trying to say. So number 22 answer should be 4, illustrative. We come to the next passage from which we have question 23 to 26. Now he's talking about Jung, Carl Jung, and as enunciated by Jung. Okay, this theory was developed by Jung, and according to Jung, there is something called the transcendent function. There is something called the transcendent function, which is kind of in which the opposites of consciousness and unconsciousness they are united. Okay, so हर इंसान में एक transcendent function होता है which unites the opposite. It transforms your psyche, and this transcendent function is central to the individuation process. It brings out your unique qualities. So, what exactly is the transcendent function? Just like we have consciousness and conscious and unconscious and semi-conscious, ये सब states होते हैं. वैसे ही transcendent function is a state जिसमें कि conscious and unconscious unite हो जाते हैं, and they transform you, and they are central to the individuation process. They actually bring out your personality. They make you unique. Now, what he's saying is that the transcendent function operates through symbol and fantasy and mediating between the opposites of consciousness and unconsciousness. Unconscious to prompt the emergence of a new third posture that transcends the two. So human beings क्या करते हैं? In human beings, consciousness and unconscious ये दोनों unite होते हैं. That there is a mediation, दोनों unite होते हैं. With imagination, symbol and fantasy ये unite होकर there is a third state जो human beings में आता है. Third state which is above the conscious and the unconscious state. That state is he's calling it the transcendent function. Okay, and in layman term it is superconscious. है ना, layman term में superconscious इसको बोलते हैं. Unconscious, semi-conscious, conscious, superconscious. So superconscious is kind of something new जिसमें unconscious और conscious दोनों mix हो जाते हैं. So a new entity is created. Now he says After this, if you actually see, he's changing track. He says that this work, ये जो work है, whatever work is being discussed, this work, when it is exploring the details of the transcendent function, this work finds that there are significant changes, ambiguities, and inconsistencies in Jung's writings. So this is this work. यहाँ पे कोई somebody is doing some work, and this work has found that there are lots of changes, there are lots of ambiguities, and lot of inconsistencies in Jung's writing when he's discussing something called the transcendent function. Plus, this work has also identified two separate images of the transcendent function. So we can understand the transcendent function in two ways. दो तरीके के हो सकते हैं transcendent function. One is the narrow transcendent function, in which what happens? In which there is a uniting of the opposites of consciousness and unconscious, from which a new attitude emerges. तो consciousness और unconscious unite होके एक नया कुछ आ जाता है आपके अंदर. That is a narrow transcendent function. Or you can understand it as the expansive transcendent function, जिसमें क्या होता है? What happens is all the things जंग की पैंथियन में, यानी जंग की वोकैबुलरी में, जंग की फिलोसफी में जितने भी और ये अनकॉन्शियस और सेमी कॉन्शियस और कॉन्शियस स्टेट्स हैं, ये all of them are subsumed, they are merged, and then you see something which is completely new. There's an interaction with something which is unknown or other. So these two are very different. Narrow transcendent function may unconscious and conscious, they unite and a new attitude emerges. And in the expansive transcendent function, what happens is that everything is subsumed. जितने भी state of consciousness या unconsciousness होते हैं, सब subsume हो जाते हैं, and you interact with the unknown or others. That means you become something absolutely unique. You become somebody that is very different or strange, something unknown till date. This is what he's trying to say. This book, again, he's telling you that this is some kind of a work or book. This book has posited that the expansive transcendent function, as the root metaphor for exchanges between conscious and the unconscious, is the wellspring from whence flows other key Jungian structures such as archetypes and the self. And it is the core of the individuation process. This is important. According to this book, जो the expansive transcendent function होता है ना, expansive transcendent function makes a person unique. Expansive transcendent function creates archetypes. Archetypes मतलब models, patterns, जिस पे बाकी सब चीजें बनती हैं. So it actually creates the self. It is the core of the individuation process. So when your conscious and unconscious unites and you become something that is unknown, you interact or become something which is very unknown, something new, something that is out of this world, that is expansive transcendent function. And from this transcendent function, you have archetypes, you have role models, you recognize yourself, you become unique. Okay, this is what he's trying to say. So a little bit complicated to understand, but he actually wants to tell you that जो हमारी the uniqueness, the uniqueness that people have, okay, that actually comes from expansive transcendent function. Uniqueness. He actually probably wants to say that people who become leaders, people who are role models, they are probably they have expansive transcendent function. उनका conscious and unconscious unite होता है, and something very extraordinary, unknown, out of this world is created. And general people narrow transcendent function होते हैं, वो हमारे conscious और unconscious unite होते हैं, जिससे कि नया attitude आ जाता है. Probably we become very alert. Probably we become very active. Probably we can relate our consciousness and unconsciousness. but that does not make us an archetype. That does not make us a role model. Okay, so this is what he's trying to say. So out of your conscious and unconscious, with the merger, with the uniting of conscious and unconscious, a third state emerges, which is called the transcendent function. Now, this particular book, जो भी book है ये, जो जो लिखी गई है on this particular topic, this particular book is trying to say that transcendent function can be of two kinds. One is where conscious and unconscious merges and a new kind of attitude emerges, and one which is called expansive transcendent function, which creates role models. Where again everything is subsumed, आपके conscious unconscious सब कुछ merge तो हो जाते हैं, but what comes out is a role model, something very unique. This is what he's trying to say in question number for this passage. Based on this particular passage, number 23. The other passage is most likely an excerpt from. It should be a scholarly treatise. It should be a scholarly treatise. क्यों? Because इतना complicated subject को आप थोड़ा सा डिटेल में एक्सप्लेन करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. So it will be a kind of work that is a little bit scholarly. It cannot be a blog or magazine article or newspaper article. No. It cannot be a research note. It is not a research note because he says this work. So it's not a note. It should be a scholarly treatise. Number 24. It can be definitely inferred from the passage that it can definitely be inferred that number 5, the transcendent is the core of the individuation process. Even though he says that the expansive transcendent is the core of the individuation process, but expansive transcendent comes under the transcendent. So the transcendent includes both narrow and expansive, and that is why you can say that yes, the transcendent is the core. So number 5 is the best answer for question number 24. Number 1, the expansive transcendent function would include elements of both the consciousness and the unconsciousness. नहीं, expansive transcendent function will include archetype, it will include yourself, and it will be the core of the individuation process. Consciousness and unconscious तो merge हो जाएंगे. They will merge, finish, subsume हो जाएंगे. Pratul. Okay. This is number 24. 25. A comparison which is similar to the distinction between the two images of the transcendent function would be. Which one? I think the answer for this question should be none of the above. Because narrow and expansive, ये जो दोनों transcendent function है, narrow and expansive transcendent function, they are neither synonyms nor are they antonyms. ना वो synonyms है ना वो antonyms है, क्योंकि दोनों में merger तो हो ही रहा है. But from narrow, a new attitude emerges. From expansive, archetype emerges. Something unknown emerges. So you cannot say that they are synonyms. You cannot say that they are antonyms. So none of them will work. Recession and withdrawal synonyms हैं, but वो work नहीं करेगा. Penurious and decrepit synonyms हैं, that will not work. Synchronity and ontology. Synchronity is some things happening simultaneously. Ontology is metaphysics. They have no relation. Correlation नहीं है इनमें. And the problem is that narrow and expansive transcendent function, it's not that they're not related also. They are related. Some things are common, some things are not common. So you cannot have two as well because in number two, synchronity and ontology are completely unrelated. Raucous and hilarious. Raucous matlab rough and wild, very loud and harsh, and hilarious means laughing. Again, they are not related, neither are they different. So they don't share the same relationship. वो जो सेम जो डिस्टिंक्शन है बिटवीन द इमेज टू इमेजेस ऑफ ट्रांसजेंडेंट फंक्शन वो किसी में भी नहीं है नन ऑफ द अबव बिकॉज कुछ चीजों में दे आर कॉमन एंड कुछ चीजों में दे आर डिफरेंट सो फॉर 25 आवर आंसर शुड बी 26 as per the passage the key Jungian structure other than the self that emerges from the expansive transcendent function may not be expressed as. So apart from self, what comes from the expansive transcendent function? Arch type. है ना? Arch type. तो सेल्फ के अलावा क्या आता है आर्च टाइप आता है आर्च टाइप मतलब स्टीरियोटाइप ये होता है आर्च टाइप मतलब आइडियलाइज्ड मॉडल यस आर्च टाइप मतलब ओरिजिनल पैटर्न यस आर्च टाइप मींस एपिटमी यस so it does not mean anomaly so what may not be an expansive transcendent function may not be expressed as anomaly. It can be expressed as epitome, original pattern, idealized model, stereotype. सब expressions हैं archetype के. Only anomaly is not an expression of archetype. 26. Answer should be 2. Coming to 27. 27 answer should be 5. Mark Twain was responsible for many striking, mostly cynical dash, such as always do right. So always do right is a witty saying, short witty saying, epigrams. Epigrams are short witty sayings, epigrams. ठीक है ना? Now that will gratify some of the people and astonish the rest. Epigrams can sometimes end up as epigraphs. What are epigraphs? Epigraphs are quotations, quotation in a book, quotation in a book. उसको एपिग्राफ कहते हैं हेडलाइन what do you say quotation in a book it can be the quotation or the heading it can be the heading of a chapter it can also be an inscription on a building it can be an inscription on a building or a statue all these are possible ये सब epigraphs होते हैं but epitaph is only an inscription on a tomb inscription on a tomb. So the inscription on a tomb will have to be called epitaph. You cannot call it epigraphs. So epigrams can sometimes end up as epigraphs, but rarely would somebody use them as epitaphs. Why? Because epigrams are witty. Witty होते हैं हंसने वाले होते हैं तो किसी की कब्र पे कोई आप हंसने वाली चीज तो देखोगे नहीं. They will rarely end up as epitaphs. Answer should be number 5 for 27. I think these are the 4 words that this question plays with. No, number 28. Any issue till now? 28. The candidate in the medical viva voce Viva exam faced a tinge of intellectual dash when asked to spell the dash gland. अब वो gland का spelling तो एक ही हो सकता है. That is prostate, which means the answer has to be number four. Everywhere you see prostrate. Prostrate का मतलब क्या होता है? Prostrate means lying flat. Lying flat. On your back. On your back. On your back supine नहीं होता अदिति? Actually one meaning. It has actually two meanings. Some dictionaries will say lying flat. Just a minute, wait. Prostrate, one means lying flat. Second is lying flat on your stomach. So both meanings are there. When it is used as lying flat, supine synonym है. Face downwards, yes. Face downwards, correct. But problem क्या है कि उसमें दोनों both meanings आ गए. Because when you are supine means face upwards, face ऊपर, lying on your back. So dictionaries भी अभी confused है कि prostrate होता क्या है. Is it lying on face downwards or is it lying face upwards? क्योंकि दोनों ही बोलते हैं, both. Okay. So answer should be number four. 28. Now 29. Other blanks. अच्छा, other blanks देखते हैं. A candidate in the medical Viva exam faced a tinge of intellectual ambivalence when asked to spell the prostate glands. So ambivalent मतलब you are in two minds. पता नहीं spelling ये है या वो है. तो spelling prostate है कि prostrate है. The fact that he carried notes on his person would definitely be termed as immoral by the faculty. Faculty इसको गलत बोलेगी ना कि आप notes carry कर रहे हो अपने exam में. But many people will term it as amoral. Amoral मतलब there's nothing like right and wrong. Okay, amoral means it has nothing to do with right and wrong. प्रियंका, you are saying that में mostly question के आंसर वो होते हैं सबसे अलग होते हैं. नहीं, इतना जनरलाइज इट. जनरलाइज तो नहीं कर सकते आप. ऐसा नहीं है. In this particular situation ऐसा हो रहा है, but no. In other questions ऐसा तो नहीं था. अभी right now we saw in 27 is not the case. अच्छा, after 5-6 questions हो गए. Well, if it works for you, then good. If it works for you, it's good. Mohit, your question is amoral is better than immoral. नहीं, immoral means wrong. Immoral means wrong. Amoral means neither right nor wrong. Okay. 27 में epitaph था. अच्छा. The last one is epitaph. Others do not have epitaph. Okay. I mean, no, that is risky proposition. I cannot say that will always work. Okay. Uh, 29. This one, 28 is clear. We'll move to 29. It is not quite democratic. Quite matlab it's not really. Quite. So it cannot be quiet. Quiet तो हो नहीं सकता. This is gone. It's not quite. Quite. It's not quite democratic that the parliament should be quiet. Quiet यहाँ पे चाहिए हमें. Quiet. So this cannot work. Quiet and quiet. These two will work. This will work. This will work. Right? But Parliament should be quiet on issues and resort to passing dash. Parliament passes. Parliament passes ordinances. Ordinances मतलब decrees and laws. Parliament cannot pass ordinances. Ordinances means artillery, है ना? Ordinance मतलब artillery manufacturing factory को ordinance कहते हैं. So no, answer has to be number 4. Okay, everybody has already marked number 4. Number 4 should be the answer for number 29. अब इसमें different क्या है प्रियंका, would tell me. सब तो वही है, same. Okay, easy. Okay, 30. In a case of acute dash, dash membranes secrete excessive dash. Answer should be number 4 again. नहीं, number 4, number 4. ये तो बिल्कुल ठीक है. In the case of acute sinusitis, sinusitis disease को कहते हैं. Sinus is not a disease. Sinus is the hollow portion in your skull. जो hollow area है in your skull, that is called sinus. And when it gets swollen, then you have problem of sinusitis. So in case of acute sinusitis, what will happen? The membrane is called mucus, mucus. Mucus membrane secretes mucus, thick, dark liquid. It should be number 4. Number 31. If a person makes the statement, I never speak the truth, then the person can be said to be, what is he doing? He's making a logically contradictory statement. ये कैसे हो गया? He's lying as well as speaking the truth. कैसे? हाँ, it should be number 4. Mucus is a liquid thing. MUCOUS, ना? Last one should be 5. So मैं check करूँ, wait. MUCOUS. Let me check. Okay, okay. हाँ, सही बोल रहे हैं आप. Wait. MUCUS is the liquid and MUCOUS will be harm. Yes, ठीक है. Okay, okay. We'll then change it. Right, you guys are right. So answer is 5 in that case. Correct. Answer should be 5. So yes, 30 answer is 5. Number 31 answer is 4. Till now, anybody has any issue? Because then we'll move to the last 4 questions from this particular passage. No, not 4 questions. Lot of questions. Yeah, he's talking about India. India is famous for its diversity. Many people have looked at India as one entity, but no, that is not right. In fact, modern scholarship has quite properly tended to explore the elements in isolation. हमारे innumerable elements हैं, innumerable elements हैं. We have lots of beliefs and practices. There's a lot of variety. There's an amalgamation. We are not a single entity, but we are an amalgamation. There is co-joining of innumerable and discrete parts, and modern scholarship has tended to explore these elements in isolation. Okay, but earlier there was something called the Orientalist enterprise. They looked at India as a monolithic entity. Monolithic matlab one large big entity that is fixed, that does not move. Okay? Um, but he's trying to actually tell you that it is not monolithic. We are diverse. We are diverse, but yes, we are united by something. Something that unites us. Something that is very deep and pervasive. Very deep and pervasive. So he talks about something called karma. This concept, even though हम बहुत diverse हैं, the concept, this concept which comes from a mythology, it weaves the disparate temples, gods, even geographical landscapes that exist throughout the subcontinent into a unified, albeit syncretic whole. So all the diversity is weaved into one by the concept called karma. It is so pervasive. It's a unifying structure. So all over India, everybody believes in something called karma. What is karma? He tells you that it is the law that ties actions to results, and it creates a determinate link between an individual's status in this life and his or her fate in future lives. So dominance of karma is such in the Hindu worldview that karma encompasses um, life affirming and life negating functions. So what are positive functions and what are negative functions? दोनों ही कर्म के अंडर आते हैं. So karma, the concept of karma is pervasive. It is something which unifies us. Everybody all over India, किसी भी diversity, किसी भी God को मैं believe करता हो, किसी भी geographical landscape से हो, everybody believes in the concept of karma. Now he's saying that the problem is that even though karma is so ubiquitous, it's present everywhere in India, this doctrine is not easily defined. एक proper definition नहीं मिला है. So there was a scholarly conference where although the participants admitted to a general sense of the doctrine's parameters, but but ultimately there was a vain attempt to define karma and rebirth. They could not define it. उनको एक सेंस तो मिला कि हाँ दिस इज कर्म इन a sense this is karma, but its real definition, a precise definition, they were not able to bring out a precise definition of karma. He tells you that the base meaning of karma is action. And according to this doctrine, कर्म में क्या क्या आता है? कर्म में बहुत कुछ आता है. कर्म में बहुत सारे और कॉन्सेप्ट आते हैं, जैसे कि रीबर्थ, कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस, फ्रूट, और क्या है, fruit, and valuation or ethicization of acts, and qualifying them as good or bad. All these comes under the concept of karma. That you will have rebirth. Whatever you do right now, उसका फल rebirth में मिलेगा. There's going to be a fruit, फल मिलेगा. You will be judged whether what you did was good or bad, and accordingly you will get the result in your next birth. Okay. For the past 2000 years, according to the Bhagavad Puran, this concept of karma has held true. Now, what is the concept? That the same person enjoys the fruit of the same sinful or a meritorious act in the next world in the same manner and to the same extent, according to the manner and extent to which that sinful or meritorious act has been done by him in this world. So आपने इस वर्ल्ड में जिस डिग्री का काम किया है, good or bad, the same degree of fruit you will get in your next birth. Okay. However, nevertheless, depending on the doctrine's context, then usage changes. It's not that karma ko everybody looks at karma like this. Depending on the doctrine's context, which range from its appearance in a vast number of literary sources to its usage on the popular level, not all these elements may be present. That means some people may look at karma in some little bit different way, but concept सबका same है. Slight variations can be there in its implication or meaning. This is what he is trying to say. So I think this passage is easy for us to understand. We can all relate to it because it is something which belongs to our country and culture. So not much difficulty here. He says the Orientalist perspective according to the author. What did it do? Number two, it viewed India as if it was a single and unitary entity that was devoid of diversity. It viewed India as a monolithic entity. है ना? Monolithic क्या होता है? Mono is single and lith is stone. A single large stone that is difficult to move, that does not change. Monolithic. So number two. Question number 32, answer is 2. 33, verify मतलब होता है to make the real. नहीं, number 3 नहीं, unitary whole नहीं करना. To make real out of abstract. India is an abstract concept. India क्या है? Can you touch India? No. Abstract concept है. उसको real कैसे बनाया उन्होंने? By looking at it as a monolithic entity. To verify can you consider it to be a monolithic entity? That was the approach that some people had. So it should be number 1. 34 ये easy है. Ethicization मतलब क्या? Good क्या है? Bad क्या है? ये judge करना और evaluate करना. Yes, judging and evaluation. What is good? What is bad? Yes, it has to be number 3. 35. Which statements are true? I think all are true. Meaning of karma is contextual. Yes. This one is 3. Meaning of karma is contextual. Yes. Meaning of karma is not synonymous. Yes. Meaning of karma includes many other quasi-independent concepts. Yes. Like rebirth and ethicization. Karma also means actions and the rewards. Yes. So all of them. Karma is fruit also. Yes. It is fruit also. But यहाँ कहाँ बोला कि कर्मा only means actions and rewards. सर्वाजी where? Sarvagi, karma is fruit also. No, the base of karma is action. The base meaning है ना कर्मा का action. But it also means actions and the rewards. हाँ है ना ये तो है passage में. Quasi मतलब semi independent concepts. These concepts are related to karma. Okay? वो है मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ. Let me take you back the passage. ये see from here the base meaning of the term karma is action. But as a doctrine कर्मा में और भी कॉन्सेप्ट आते हैं ना. कर्मा में और भी चीजें हैं जैसे कि रिबर्थ है, जैसे कि कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हैं, जैसे कि वैल्यूएशन एथिकाइजेशन है. बेस मीनिंग एक्शन जरूर है बट डॉक्ट्रिन में और भी चीजें आती हैं. So it also means rewards and valuation and rebirth. Okay, so we were in number 35. All are true. Karma means rebirth, yes. Even though the base meaning is action, but karma also means rebirth. Yes. Rebirth is one of the aspects of karma, okay? That is what he wants to say. 36. The base meaning of karma is, जो अभी हमने डिस्कस किया, Any action. This is the base meaning. Contextual meaning तो बहुत सारे हैं. Contextual meaning में ये भी है, ये भी है, but base meaning is any action. Number 3 should be the answer for 36. 37. As for the author, which of the following statements is wrong? Number 5. Modern scholars have studied Hinduism as a syncretic whole. No, they have studied the parts in isolation. The very first paragraph he tells you that modern scholars study individual parts of Hinduism. They do not study Hinduism as a whole. So 37 answer should be 5. And finally, number 38. Which of the following is true? Would be required for the concept of karma to be made equally valid across different space-time combinations. तो अगर valid होना है इसको तो number 4 होना पड़ेगा. The information of the past actions and the righteousness of each action would be embodied in the individual. नहीं तो if it changes तो फिर आप कैसे पास्ट एक्शन के बारे में, पास्ट एक्शन का जजमेंट आप रीबर्थ में कैसे करोगे? नहीं, 38C is not possible. Please understand. हाँ, I will explain all. Each epoch will have its own understanding of karma, and therefore there cannot be a uniform validity of karma. तब तो ये कर्म का कॉन्सेप्ट ही वर्क नहीं करेगा. In birth A, you commit murder, so this is wrong. According to karma, when you move to birth B, इसका consequences आपको मिलेंगे. You will suffer negative things. But number 3 is saying that when you come to birth B, in birth B, murder is considered to be something positive. So you will not be punished. But ऐसा नहीं है ना. According to the concept, what you do in previous birth, वो same चीज आपको next time में मिलेगा, same proportion में. तो अगर ये change हो गया, अगर ये change हो जाएगा, अगर concept of understanding of karma change हो जाएगा, then what will happen? As defined in the Bhagavad Purana, karma will not work. So no, number 3 is not right. Number 5 देख लेते हैं. Number 5 भी बिल्कुल यही है. The same thing is saying each space-time combination would have different norms of righteousness and the respective expert panels, which will judge each action as per those norms. Again, it will not work in every time frame. In birth A, murder is judged as something negative. According to karma, when you go to birth B, you should suffer the consequences. But now when you're in birth B, during this time, people consider murder not to be bad. They consider it to be positive, which means that you will not suffer the consequences of your past actions. So concept of karma as defined in Bhagavad Purana will not work. So number 5 will not do. 37, explain number 3. Which of the statement is wrong? Doctrine of karma has a rich scholarly discourse. This is right. So many scholars gathered together. They have so many interpretations. A scholarly discourse हुआ था. They got a general idea, but they could not define with precision what is karma. So it's not wrong. This is right. और भी था क्या? Anybody else had any issues? Okay, so this is it. Very lengthy paper. 38 questions. They had not given extra time, but pretty lengthy paper, and a lot of different and philosophy kind of passages. But still, if there is anything that you did not understand, please ask. Okay, and if you have no issues, if you're tired, if you want to log off, you can log off. Good night from my side. This is the last session of that verbal ability before you take the paper. So before you go, best of luck, and a very happy new year. Good night. Take care. Good score is going to be 12. Around 12. You have 17. Okay, good. Negative को भी जोड़ रहे हो ना? Negative को भी रिबोर कर रहे हो ना? Obviously. 12, 12, 13 के आसपास इसका अच्छा स्कोर होगा ये. Okay? Okay. Take care, people who are leaving. Good night. Happy New Year and best of luck for your
Music